If you breathe at the exact same pace as another person, you will feel what they are feeling.
Now, anybody can get a solid stroke of luck throughout their life and somehow make it out without doing too much, but they're not going to last long term. That'll last maybe for a little bit, but not long term. If you want long-term success, you're going to need to go out and find ways to get value to your life. Now, that can mean a vast variety of different things. That can mean going out and trying to acquire a new business, or starting a new business, or going out and meeting new people to learn more knowledge, thus creating yourself more valuable in a workplace or a work environment.
Happiness is your job. The brain's not going to do that.
Giving you more responsibilities, therefore giving you more opportunities to produce successful. One of the most successful things that you can do is incredibly simple, and it's just helping other people in need. Once you've become successful, that is the greatest way you can help to contribute to the greater success of the world, is by helping those in need, and it can be by the smallest of gestures.
And then automate it so you don't have to think about it anymore, so that as the years go by, that simple habit will make you free.
By things that they won't even notice, but you know will make their day, and they won't acknowledge it. But it's all about helping the people in need. If you have the income or the resources to assist these people that need your help, there's nothing that should be holding you back from doing that. And once you do these activities in which help the people in need, you will see your success grow not only in your company or business, but inside of yourself. You will see you grow as a person, knowing what doing the right thing means and how you've impacted not only the people around you, but generations to come.
What do you truly want? What excites you? It needs to be specific and measurable, and most importantly, it's got to get your energy going. There's only one way you succeed long term. Anybody can get lucky, do something for a period of time, but real success in any measure whatsoever comes when you do more for others than anybody else. There's no other way to do it. You find a way to add more what? And if we find the way to add more value, we can be superior in the marketplace, but we can also be superior in our own lives. We can enjoy our lives at a different level. We can have a different set of pride that isn't fake. It's not ego. Ego is when you try to make it better than it is, and you know the truth is it's not. When you're in a position where you own what you're about, and you know what you're here to deliver, and you deliver it on a significant scale, then you have an opportunity to really experience not only success, but fulfillment. Bigger and bigger, not only in its size, but also in its impact. And so I'm really privileged to be back with you here. And I know you're working to raise 1 million meals, and I'm very, very into hunger, to say the least, primarily because I was so hungry at a stage of my life. And my life was completely changed because when I was 11 years old, we had no money and no food, and we'd gotten used to that, but it was Thanksgiving, which makes it more emotional. And my parents were saying and doing things that after you say them, you can never take them back. And it was very profoundly painful, obviously, for myself as the oldest and trying to keep my brothers and sisters from hearing it. Profoundly changed me because that day something changed my life, and it was somebody simply coming and delivering food. What human beings can do is amazing. What they will do is usually disappointing. It's not because we're not capable of it. It's because we don't have new actions, because we get in certain emotional states that dominate us, like anxiety, like fear of failure, right? Like the fear of the loss of your mother as an example. So if you're in a state of fear, you're going to behave very differently and get very different results. That's what that means right there. Than if you were in a place of being courageous or bold or warm or connected or playful, any of those. So the most important key to changing your life in any situation is to change results, you got to change behavior, but to change behavior, you got to change the emotional state you're in. Now, how do you do that when you don't feel like it or it feels overwhelming? There are 2 ways, and I've done this with the greatest athletes in the world. I've done this with 4 different presidents of the United States. I've done it with billionaire clients. All you have to do to change your state is not try to think your way there, like I'm happy, and do a bunch of affirmations. Your brain's going to go BS, you are not happy. What you need to do is make a radical change in the way you use what we call your physiology. It's a big word. It just means the way you use your physical body. But if I said to you, there's a depressed person behind curtain number 1 over there, and I'll donate $100,000 to your best charity, your favorite charity, if you could describe what they're like physically. Coach people, but I'm into immersion, because how'd you learn language? You didn't learn it by just learning principles. You got in it and you did it so often that it became real. And the bottom line of why I'm here, besides being a crazy mofo, is that I'm really in a position, I'm not here to motivate you, obviously. You don't need that. And a lot of times that's what people think I do. And it's the furthest thing from it. What happens though is people say to me, well, I don't need any motivation. And I say, well, that's interesting. That's not what I do. I'm the why guy. I don't know why you do what you do. What is your motive for action? What is it that drives you in your life today, not 10 years ago, or are you running the same pattern? Because I believe that the invisible force of internal drive activated is the most important thing in the world. I'm here because I believe emotion is the force of life. All of us here have great minds. You know, most of us here have great minds. I don't know if I'm in the category, but we all know how to think. And with our minds, we can rationalize anything. We can make anything happen. You don't work in your self-interest all the time. Because when emotion comes into it, the wiring changes in the way it functions. The more you can feel that sense of joy, the more easy it's going to be for you to do financially. Because you're not going to be in this scarce, fearful mode. Now, that's not enough by itself. You can have this great sense of abundance and do the wrong mechanics and be a disaster. But if I had to have an area to get you started with, you want to have the emotion and psychological strength, because that's going to carry you through when the mechanics are boring or frustrating, or when things aren't working out. Your emotion, your psychology is what will carry you. People that are pessimists are much more realistic. They're much more accurate. If you give them a test and you ask them to look at something and give you a size measurement of it, or to evaluate their own success or failure in a task, and every study Seligman's done, he did it in the University, I think Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly originally, what he found was that optimists always see themselves as doing better than they really did. They basically BS themselves. What happens to pessimists, they're 10 times more accurate. But here's what he found out. What he found out is because the people who are accurate never push themselves because they know it's never going to work anyway. Whereas the optimist sees it better than it is, so they keep doing it.